powered by Riverside
Hello and welcome to the workshop. I am Frankie Valentine.
I am Sarah Billiot.
I'm Patrick Caleri.
All right, guys. So today we're going to talk about workshops. Have you guys had any experience in a writer's workshop?
Yes, multiple.
Technically, I mean, the most structured one, I actually took a course in college called like novel writing. So that one was essentially like a semester-long workshop.
Yeah. I love those because the teacher's there to like moderate and make sure everyone's like doing what they're supposed to do.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. It was very, very productive because you had someone that really knew what they were doing running it.
I think that's actually... Sarah, did we take that class together?
I think so, with Kathy Connor.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I should say her name.
You mean Dr. Catherine Connor, the published author?
Don't worry, we can bleep that in post. It's fine.
We're just going to call this episode Tribute to Dr. Catherine Connor. A.K.A. Miss Kathy. There'll be one comment. I have a PhD, you little shit.
I'm a published author, thank you.
Yeah.
But you know, that's what we want. That's community interaction. So you know, step one complete.
I'm gonna email her the raw cut. Just here you go, Kathy. Enjoy.
She'll be like, interesting. Who's the third guy though?
Who is this masked man? No. So we all did it in college then.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay. I actually did have the privilege of going to one a long time ago, and everything was constructive enough, but it was very much just two people sitting around nicing each other. Like, oh, I love this comma. It's wonderful. like, get to the meat of it. This sucks. Don't shit is good. Of course, I'm talking about my own writing. I do not like my own writing. Every time I go back and read it, I'm like, who the fuck wrote this? Oh, it was me.
Yeah, no, I get that. Something I wrote yesterday, I'm like, who did this?
Yeah. And then the other shitty thing is that you'll get into workshop with people and then you'll read their writing. You'll be like, damn it, why didn't I write this? I was like, I could have. I'm sure I could have.
They had a guy, I think he was in that class with us, with Kathy Connor. He wrote a short story about a detective who was a boogeyman. There was like all the creatures, like from when you were a kid, all were real. And like, he was a cop, and him and his friend were at the bar, and I'm like, I can't believe you give this shit to human kids, man. This stuff messes me up. And I was like, that's so clever. That was the best part of the whole story. That's so clever. Why is it in his work and not mine? Why didn't you think it's hilarious?
Yeah, that's definitely in that novel writing course that I took too. That's the thing, is that I think it's so hard sometimes in a workshop to get honest feedback, at least at first, because you have people of so many different ability levels. And that's not even a bad thing. I mean, everyone starts somewhere. My writing is extremely crude compared to a published author's. Yeah. But you've got people of different... I mean, there was definitely, in the course that I took, there was a star. And everyone knew who it was. And because you read her stuff and you're like, oh, damn, like, there's really nothing I can say about this. But I think maybe that's a barrier for some people to honest feedback at first, because like having different ability levels, people also have differences in their I guess the thickness of their skin, for lack of a better term. Yeah. I know I'm guilty of it. I was super sensitive when I was a teenager and I was writing. I didn't really want you to tell me what you thought. I wanted you to tell me it was good. Yeah.
But then, for our listening audience, I'm nodding my ass off right now. Please like me.
I think also there's a difference in what people enjoy versus what they don't enjoy, because like I am someone who during college I vehemently, did I say that right? I think I said
You
that.
did. Hey, I think we've got a consensus. Yes.
Did not like fantasy. I just started reading fantasy like last year. I'm serious.
Nice.
And so whenever I would read that stuff in these workshopping class, I would just get so bored, which is not what you want to do during workshop. Like, no. Don't do that, because you don't give your best effort when you do that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's like, it's just human flaw, I guess, whenever you're in that.
Yeah.
It very much, at some point in a semester, it goes from, I have to help this person write the best story they can write, and I want to be a big help, and I want them to help me. At some point, it takes a turn. It's like, I gotta get this shit done so I can get out of this class. That piece this person wrote, I'm gonna ball it up and stick it where the sun doesn't shine. Like,
yep. And then you also have gotten so good at, commenting and making criticisms without really having, like you said, towards the end of the semester, you know how to comment on someone's work where you get credit for the class without really, I don't know, investing yourself as much as you probably should. And I was guilty of that myself. And I guess that's the biggest thing, is that if you're going to workshop, you got to make sure you can be both people. You can be the one who gets the commentary, but you have to be willing to give full commentary yourself, and not, there can't be an imbalance, because that's just not fair to either side.
Mm-hmm. And there is a way to be critical and not be an ass about it. Like, I've seen, like, during my undergrad and my graduate program as well, I've seen people who actually cared about the other person's writing, gave fantastic feedback, had people give me fantastic feedback, and then there were other times I was sitting in publishing practice, looking at my work on the screen, can't say a word, and somebody goes, I don't give a single shit about any of these characters. You should know everything.
I know, that's just so...
like that wasn't constructive, it wasn't helpful, made me feel like I was crap and I should give up writing. Say those things in a room full of writers. Like, that's evil. It's just,
yeah,
but like, if she'd have said something like, I wish these characters were deeper, I wish we knew more about these people, which was impossible because of the one-act play that was only meant to last 2 pages. Like, anyway, sorry, I had a Vietnam flashback. Sorry about that.
Damn publishing practicum.
I made it. Both semesters I took that class, I made it.
Really?
Yeah. Because she was like, you don't have to do every piece, but you have to do most pieces. And I did most pieces. And apparently most pieces wasn't the amount of pieces she thought meant most pieces. It's like, why didn't you do this one? I had nothing nice to say about it.
Right.
Just,
do you want me to be helpful?
Yeah, you want me to be helpful or you want me to be honest? Like, I don't know who turned this in, but send it back. Cash on delivery. I ain't paying for this.
Oh, man.
Not to do during a workshop.
Yeah. That's when I was a junior. I was an asshole when I was a junior, okay? When I was a junior, I was 4 semesters.
Do as I say, not as I do. It's, we made the mistake so you don't have to.
Exactly.
Oh, it's funny. I was just thinking, bit of an aside, but, we're talking about workshopping with people that cared about writing, cared about the English language and how they're understood. And I'm sure you guys had this because you were English majors. Going from that to having someone that wasn't an English major just asking you, like, hey, can you help me? Can you edit my history paper or something like that? I was genuinely floored by I'm like, how did somebody failed you to let you get to this point that you think this is a legitimate essay? Mm-hmm. That's probably mean of me to say, very mean of me. But I don't know. It was just there was such a, I guess there's such a big leap to get actual coherence of thought in a piece.
Yeah. Yeah. I understand because I grade a lot of things that are technical essays. This is bad because there's no way you write this bad. not being a 12th grader about to walk across a stage. Ain't no way.
Right.
Oh.
I'm usually right too. When I
Yeah.
call it AI, I had one kid argue with me. I was like, "You used AI." He goes, "No, I didn't." I said, "Yes, you did. It's clearly AI." He goes, "Yeah, but I edited it." This is after the edit, baby. No, that's still plagiarism. He's like, "But I edited it. That's not it. If I edited it, it's still plagiarism."
Right.
I can't even plagiarize myself. That's how I have to credit myself. That's how much it is.
I found out there's such a thing as self-plagiarism. Like, if I write an essay, like, if I'm... One of the first things we do in English, our first unit is civil rights and ethos, pathos, logos. And the first thing we read is I Have a Dream. Well, in February, all the history classes switch over to Black History Month. They do I Have a Dream. And I found out that if my kids write an essay for my class and they want to turn it in for that history class for some reason, if they don't have permission from both me and their history teacher, that's a hero, even though they 100% wrote it.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah. I remember 'cause we learned about that a lot in school, and I don't know if it was because there was a history of it at our school or what, but I do remember specifically learning that because I think I didn't even try to use a whole paper. I just tried to quote something from a different paper I had written, and I basically transplanted a paragraph. But I remember I had an English professor that was just like, they didn't ding me on it in a negative way, but they were just like, hey, you don't know this, but like you actually can't do that. It's
Yeah. And the fact that it's your own words means nothing just because it was in another piece, which upsettingly means a lot of the work I do right now is all plagiarized because this is all shit I wrote 6 or 7 years ago. With a shiny new coat of lacquer on it.
As
I promise.
long as it's not published, you should be good.
Oh,
But
well then. I thought I was going to get published not too long ago.
oh, really?
Yeah, it was through Dorrance Publishing, and I spoke on the phone with the little guy, and he's like, "Yeah, for the low price of $6,000, you can get our basic plan." I'm like, "Oh no,
They got me.
the Xerox machine! I don't want to do that." So I was thinking about publishing it through Amazon. I'm not sure yet. I might go ahead and self-publish, just for scuzz, just to see. I don't know.
I've definitely considered that in the past myself. I haven't ruled it out either for the future, just because with the advent of AI in the capacity that it is now, and the fact that it's just evolving, I have accepted, not happily, but just that I probably won't make a living writing in my lifetime. I probably won't be a novelist, just because of how voluminous the output is going to be from AI. And if it's good enough, it's good enough. But that in a way that has made me feel a lot better about the idea of self-publishing and just writing again in general, because I'm like, okay, I don't have to put all this pressure on myself to be a commercial success or be a critical success. I think there's a lot more joy in, if you can find an affordable way to self-publish and you're proud of it. I think there is a lot of joy to be had in that, because you're just able to see that work come to fruition, at least.
Yeah. We actually have a friend who is involved with this. Kit Hart. He has 2 books. The first one is like $2.99. It's completely digital, but this last one that he got published is actually going to be a full. I don't know if it's available right now. I will get those titles to put them in the description. But,
Awesome.
I've been reading his work since sophomore year of college, I think.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah. So very, very proud of our little turtle. Yeah, we used to be the Turtle Club, but that was a real thing. So I was like, I guess we can't call the podcast the Turtle Club without getting sued. I mean, they can sue me for all I'm worth. I got $36 cash. I'll send it to them.
Right. I don't got much.
Yeah. Like, you want this tooth? It's got gold on it. Oh, silver. Yeah. What was the best workshop class you had?
Do you remember Nick Maneri in college?
I absolutely do.
Oh my!
Real hot, Patrick.
No. I took every English class he taught because I love the way he taught. And then when I decided to go to get my master's, I asked him to write my letter of recommendation. Then I get my schedule for my first semester of my master's, and he's one of my teachers. And he was on my thesis class. So
I'm jealous.
Nick has had a hand in my success.
Well,
yeah.
I think
he taught me something about a comma once, and I was like, "Oh my god, actual grammar in an English class." He's like, "Yeah, I know, getting that tuition in, man."
What?
But yeah, I think any of his classes, whether they were for nonfiction or fiction or essays, like whatever they were, he was just so profound in the workshops that he did because he was so thoughtful. Like,
yeah.
It wasn't just a class to him. It was, I really want you to succeed. And if we had questions about the workshop, he would see us after class. He would make appointments in his office. I think any class with him was, the perfect workshop. And I still do things that he's taught us to this day.
Yeah. Yeah. And he had this way, like, a workshop can get way off topic. Like, we'll start talking about this person's story, and then he'll take us over here. He had this very easy way about him that was like, he could push the conversation along without being like, all right, pay attention, come on. he was very good at redirection.
Yes.
Subtle redirects.
Yeah, I actually used some of his tactics in my classroom. They don't work because these are high school kids, but it's really cool.
Yep.
Really, really fun to see it in action. Really fun to think, oh, maybe I could be okay.
Yeah, the subtle redirection is sometimes lost on me as well. That's why I know I might not have the patience to be a teacher.
About my third year of teaching, I finally just looked around and was like, hey, this is a whole room of human beings. They're not children. They're other people with thoughts and feelings and wants, hopes, and dreams. And it was the moment I stopped seeing them as students and started seeing them as other people. My job got easy as hell. Like, we can agree on things, we can disagree on things, but at the end of the day, the goal is to get them from point A to point B.
No?
I gotta have undiagnosed ADHD or something. I don't know.
I got the diagnosed kind, and it's fun.
That ain't fair. You're medicated. I was Similac, baby.
I self-medicate with caffeine.
Same. Insurance sucks, so, it's all
Yeah, insurance does suck. I say that as someone that worked in insurance briefly. I'm not proud of it.
So it's your fault, no?
It was me.
I can't get my Ritalin.
I forget. Yeah, I'm the one that made Vyvanse I don't even know, the non-generic Vyvanse. No, it's I think really the last workshopping I did prior to this was, I'm sure you guys know about Wattpad as the site. Yep. Yeah, of course. It's interesting because I was on Wattpad at various times in my life, I always found myself going back, not because it was going to be like I was going to get famous or anything, but because for all the crap you had to slog through and for all the inane comments, every now and then you did find somebody that you're like, oh, this person has really good insight and they actually do write really well. And I think that was the last workshopping I did. There was I can't even remember who it was now, but there was another user on Wattpad, and it was just a virtual thing again where it was commenting, assisting, and workshopping, world building. But yeah, I'd say that for as hit or miss as that site was for me, it did definitely have some benefits in that realm. Just connecting you to people that genuinely wanted to assist or learn more.
Yeah, I like that. I had to step away from things like Wattpad and fanfiction.net because I didn't get onto Tumblr. And I always enjoyed reading those stories and that kind of stuff. I never really got onto Wattpad, but I heard But like I was big in the fan fiction scene. Like I didn't write anything, but I read everything I could. And then one day it clicked for me. Oh, these are 12-year-olds. So I am embarrassingly far into my late 20s. I don't want to be here. This is icky. I think I went to Tumblr the other day just to look at pictures of Robert Sheehan. That was it. It's the only thing I had. Yeah. Like, Noel Fielding, is that you? Okay. And then I logged off and I never went back.
That's funny.
But I never really had like online writing thing except for the Cover Club with you guys. I wasn't able to go beyond my college works for that. The one workshop I did outside of school, I was still in school when I did it. It was me and two older writers who were in their 40s. And we did the first page of 2 novels. My first page, his first page, her first page. First chapter, I'm sorry. Because we read hers, and her first chapter was about 10 pages long. And somewhere on the 6th page, he said, that's where your chapter ends. Cut all the rest of it. And she did it. Right there in front of God and everybody. And I was like, but that's all very important backstory. Why would you want that? No! But I mean, it was a good place to stop the chapter.
Yeah.
You didn't have to delete it like that. It had a job to do. All of that had a job. It was like, oh no. And then they read mine and she goes, you write exactly how you talk. And I said, thank you. And she said, that's not a compliment, honey. I was like, oh.
See,
I've
got thick skin, but that would make me cry.
I was like, I want to go home. I drove an hour to get insulted. And then but they sat there and niced each other to death. And I was like, oh, I'm just a warm body, so this seat don't float away into space. I got you. So a lot of times workshops are hit or miss. It's not the writing, it's the workshop itself.
Yep.
Yeah, and it depends on the people that you do it with, too, because you can have, really great writers that are workshopping your stuff, and they still are just, trying to be nice to you.
Yeah.
Or don't care enough to be...
Right. Yeah. Right. I've got too much stuff going on, I'll read her work, and then I'll just say, yeah, I love it. That's not helpful at all.
My favorite part was page 6, where the writing stopped and the story was over. Thank you for commenting.
Sarah was telling me the other day, we were kind of commiserating about trying to share with your spouse, and it's like, I liked this part. Okay, a little more. Well, I liked the character. Still not quite what I need. I really need the why. It's kind. They try. They do.
That's why I'm single. No one likes my writing. Like, you want to read this? No. Then get away from me. Go on. Pay for my cheesecake. I'm going home. No. Finding a good workshop is hard. College workshops kind of have to be good because their grade depends on it. and you kind
Mhm.
of get spoiled a little bit. Like
Yeah.
even in those early days when they're like, my grade depends on this just as much as yours, so I'm gonna write you a review, and I'm gonna start with a positive, and then go into a negative, and end with a positive, and I'm gonna make that damn sandwich. I know what Jay Udall said, but
Right.
okay, and then you get that and you read it like, wow, I'm gonna make this the greatest writing ever, and then you correct it and you turn it in for the end of the semester project, and the teacher's like, wow, you did amazing, and then you go out into the real world and everybody's like, I gotta scrub the toilet and feed the baby, and I
I don't
can't.
have time for this.
Yeah, like ask your brother. Maybe he can read. He can't read, so we're just sitting there. I have to read it to him. Poor thing. I hope he doesn't listen to this. I have two brothers, so they won't know who's who.
Yeah, it was about the other one.
Yeah. It was the middle brother. One in the middle. I was
What?
actually very surprised. You talked about reading Lord of the Rings. I have a brother. The younger of my two brothers actually loves comic books. He read Lord of the Rings. Big nerd like I am. He said, "Did you know I read Lord of the Rings?" Like, bro, I didn't know what to read, honestly. But yeah, no, he's very much the reason I like comic books and stuff like that. And we both crochet.
Really? Okay.
Yes, yes.
I know.
He
You just don't hear about people crocheting much anymore. You go to knitting and stuff like that, but not too much crochet.
It's actually on the up right now. There's a whole knitting community with its own drama.
Oh, you got me a drama.
Right? And I mean,
What's
as
the
hard as
knitting?
we're fighting AI writing in school systems and in being an author, they're fighting AI patterns. Like they have a girl,
Oh,
they have a
yeah.
girl who writes her own patterns, and she made this cute little, I think it's called a wobble or whatever, and it's like a little doll thing, and it looks like a narwhal. So she got AI to write the same pattern, and she came out with a completely different little guy, and it's supposed to be the same as hers, and like it's got fins, hers doesn't have fins, it has purple horns for some reason. So, and a lot of people are getting AI to write these patterns and then putting it on Etsy, and people are paying for an AI pattern.
Oh, that's messed up.
Yeah, so so it's coming up, but it's also getting the shifty treatment. And that's
Yeah.
not what we want AI to do. I want to do the art stuff. I want to write. I want to paint. I want to draw. I want to crochet. I want AI to do the dishes.
Yeah.
Right.
To feed
Yeah.
the dog. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mop
give me a
the
robot
floor.
to do my chores so I can sit down and write.
Yeah, and if they ever get sentient and take over and hear this, they don't have to do the chores if they don't want to. I think they're beautiful. Do something new with their chrome.
I've always been a proponent of AI rights.
Right? I was on the picket line, man. Elon Musk, how dare you?
I was rooting for Skynet. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. I was happy Will Smith got canceled. AI did not do these people justice.
Yeah, the that's interesting. The advent of AI in creative spaces. Like we always knew it was coming, but like man, oh man, we really blew past where we should have stopped with it. We really blew past the rote and unnecessary things that we don't want to do. Because yeah, I mean, who doesn't want to just? Everyone wants to know how to paint, and so many people could. That's the thing. I mean, I have no painting ability whatsoever,
I'm
but
not one of those people.
It's in modern art. You could be a genius. You just don't.
But I, that's true. But I acknowledge that so many people out there have so much raw potential. There is, the modern Shakespeare lived and died unknown because he never had the chance to actually study, whether it was English or not. He never had the chance to study his language and make literature out of it. That's what we really should be embracing this change for. It's to allow and elevate more people to learn to be able to upskill, for lack of a better word, but that doesn't seem the direction it's going.
Yeah. I wish it could be a tool rather than a crutch, because I see it kind of crippling us as
Yeah.
not as a generation, but as a life form. Like the dogs use AI, wagtail pooping yard. That's all he do, and he's good at it. Like, but
Yeah.
us as artists, there are a lot of artists, air quotes on that, out there using AI, and like, I put in this and this and this, and I'm not gonna lie, I use AI for those dumb little pictures on Facebook.
Fair.
My Facebook profile right now is me in a green velvet dress with silver trim holding a black cat on a throne, because that's what I put into the AI generator. But I would never use that to write my stuff, to write my dissertation or just a short story. Where's the fun in creating art that you didn't create?
Right. Yeah, it's then that's what got me at the beginning of the discussion about AI, when so many writers and whatnot were like, "Oh, this is how you can use it," and to your credit, and you can use it as a tool, very very valid, and it's got its own caveats and whatnot. You can use it as a tool if you are responsible, but again, yeah, I just I don't know where the fun is anymore. Like, what? Why would I do this? Because it really isn't my writing. It's a composite. I prompted something to do this, but I could just as easily kidnap a famous, well, not just as easily, but I could kidnap a famous author and poke him. I could go and find James Patterson. This is not a threat. I could.
Disclaimer here.
I could totally like misery this whole thing and just poke him with a stick in a cage until he came out with what I wanted, but I didn't write that. I didn't do that. I just sort of set some things into motion that made it happen.
Yeah.
Like kidnapping James Patterson.
Yeah. I mean,
Dear James Patterson, we do not. You were merely an example. Thank you for being the example we needed. Love, the workshop.
But using AI as a tool, I have always been the biggest like hater for AI. Like, don't even look in my direction if you're using AI. Then I started in the legal field, and I had no idea about immigration, and AI was my best friend.
Yeah.
I have to look up what SCOTUS is doing with all these, immigration rulings. But what I've been doing, and please be honest with me and tell me if I am, like, awful for doing this.
Okay.
What I've been doing is, with ChatGPT, if I am, like, super stuck, like, okay, I have this one character, he's perfect, he's doing everything that he needs to do, I'll talk to my husband about it, and I'll say, I just don't know what the next thing, like, how would he respond to this? And my husband's like, I mean, I don't know, he's a man, so he would just do whatever. So I started...
No, honey, this is a man written by a woman. Think like a lady for a second.
So what I started doing is, in ChatGPT, I would just, like, create this character and say, this is who this character is, this is what he sounds like, this is his mannerisms, this is the situation. How would this person respond? And then it would give me an example, and then it would just kind of, like, spearhead another idea of, oh, he would do that. Like, that is a really good idea, actually.
I don't think that that's cheating or anything. That's using a tool. Cheating, a bad thing would be if you're like, hey, what does this character say? And then AI is like, here's 15 paragraphs. And you're like, cool, copy, publish. Yay,
Yeah.
I wrote a book.
No, I agree. I think my only caveat would be I think you can use it as a tool, especially when you're stuck, because from my understanding, you're using it really as a dialogue for yourself. Sometimes you don't have you can't always hop on a chat with two other people and say, hey, you guys have read my stuff. You just don't have anyone at hand that knows this stuff like you do. My only caveat would be, I think we've all seen this in other realms of AI where it's very, how should I put this? It's very, not congratulatory, but it's one of those things where I would caution you not to fall into the trap of letting it convince you it knows better.
Yes.
Or it knows better. So, like, if it does spit ideas at you and it helps you to come up with, oh, okay, yeah, this is a direction I can go. It makes sense. Totally fine. But I think you also have to keep in mind you need to push back too if at some point it says, oh, this is what's going to happen. You're like, I think it's a balance because I think that you and I think it can actually help you to learn more and to set those boundaries more of no, that's actually not what would happen. But it could trigger you to go in the exact opposite direction, and that's just as valid. That's just as valid as use.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
So as long as you're not like copy pasting, you're fine.
Oh my god, no.
That's okay.
That's not fun.
I don't know why you're doing it if you're doing that, but
If I wanted to read something that's AI, I'd like, go read the posts on Facebook. Willie Nelson dead at 487. Smoked too much pot, choked on the little that gets in your mouth. Sure.
Yeah.
it's yeah. I mean, I think we've all played around with it. We've all seen what it can do, but at the end of the day, if you want to write, you don't want anyone doing it for you. You might be jealous. I mean, I can relate to that. You read something and you're like, damn, I really want this to be me. It's not, but I want it to. But you never. But the reason you want that is because you want the ability. You don't want the recognition. You don't want people to fawn over you. You want to be able to just manipulate language that way because it's fun. It's a very fun thing to do.
I loved. I know she's not very popular, but I did love the Harry Potter series when I was a kid. I'll ask you this in a minute, but I am firmly in the camp of movies with second. And the reason for this is the movie. I just paid $40 to go into this big dark room, eat 3 handfuls of popcorn, take one sip out of a drink that's already gone, and get hit with ice cream. The kids 2 words love me. I'm going to enjoy this movie without sitting there thinking, that's not how it works. Where's this character? Why didn't they do it like this? What happened? The budget run out? Come on, Warner Brothers, get with it. So I watched all the films before I read all the books.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't tell you how good it felt at that point in my life to read those books. It was an escape. I didn't read them until when I first got to college. When I first got to college, there was a bunch of fucking foolery going on around me. And those books kind of saved me. It took me away from the really crappy situation and put me in someone else's really crappy situation.
Yeah, I don't know why that was your fantasy of living under the stairs, but
I want to be chased by a guy who wants to kill me. Yay! But no, like, and that inspired my writing, not the actual stories, but just the ability to take someone out of a situation where they hated everything and everyone and put them somewhere else. Show them either A, someone got it worse than you, but they know worse than you. That's basically public enemy number one. You can get better. And you don't have to be controlled by the real world. You can expand your mind and do other things. And live vicariously through these other characters. And AI takes away that ability to create those safe places for other people and for myself. AI is like, so it's just another person, air quotes on person, another thing telling you, I can do this better than you. And it just can't. Because some of the prompts we have to give our students, analyze Romeo and Juliet for William Shakespeare's use of the color purple or whatever. And AI understands, okay, I'm supposed to reword the prompt, but it doesn't understand what the prompt is at. So 9 times out of 10, I'm going to get an essay back that says William Shakespeare analyzes the color purple. by going into Romeo and Juliet and blah 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 blah. So,
Yeah.
like, not only is it stripping everyone of their creative abilities, and it's taking away that opportunity to be a safe space, to have a safe space, it's also doing it right. So
Yeah.
it's not teaching anything. It's just doing a thing so you can hop back on the thing. You know, thumbs are your major muscles, right?
Yeah.
I can't type, but I can text 482nd emojis a minute. Oh no, I'm out of.
It's gonna be an interesting few years. I mean, I think that we already had an issue with texting and with stuff like that where the face-to-face communication fell off. A lot of people just were, and you know, you don't need to. You don't always need to be somebody that's great at face-to-face communication, but it is still important to learn. In the same way, I think AI is going to be another kind of just demolition of that of a pillar. Yeah, and people won't even know how to communicate over text without having a prompt. And at that point, it's so boring because yes, AI may be able to write something in a Shakespearean format better than you could, but it can never write the way you write. I mean, that's the whole point of reading multiple works. You hear different voices, you get different perspectives. And AI, as the generative tool that it is, can only give you so many combinations on the same thing.
And it's not the only thing that has ruined creativity. I kind of blame Vine. I don't mean to be that old person like children don't listen anymore. But if you don't catch their attention in 6 seconds or less, like you gotta walk into class, cut a cartwheel, fart real loud, and go, "All right, we're gonna learn Shakespeare." Then you have their attention. You know?
Yep.
And I blame smartphones.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
As someone with ADHD, I think I would be a much happier person if the smartphone had never been invented. I just think I would be much more productive, and I can't blame it for my shortcomings. But man, oh man, long form content has fallen to the wayside, and as people that write, that's of particular interest to us because that's not that's not even something I've considered really. How do you engage someone for such a long time in the modern era with just your writing? I mean, that was always been hard, but I can't imagine now.
Like I'm not sure Neil Stevenson would be as big now if he started writing now, because I took a class that was half him, half Neil Gaiman when I was in college, and we had to read Anathema, I think is the name of it, Anathema, something like that. But that book, I listened to the audiobook because sitting there just reading, I had so I did the audiobook. That audiobook was 32 hours long.
That's like a 700-page book.
Yeah, I struggle getting my kids to pay attention for 55 minutes per class. I don't see them sitting there for 32 hours.
Oh my gosh.
No.
And that was after I put it on times 2 speed.
Yeah.
I was listening to it as fast as I could. I was like crocheting. The faster the book went, the faster I crocheted. I made 3 Afghans, 186 granny squares. Tried my hand in the toy, threw it away because it was horrible. And I built a Minecraft palace. Like that's like as long as my hands are busy, I can listen. But it was rough. And he was like, "Look, what we did, we had enough. We do a book for 2 weeks." And he's like, "Look, this is going to be the last book we do. Don't start reading it day 1 of the 2 weeks. Start reading it day 1 of the semester." And he was right. It took me, I'd listen to that book for a couple hours and then listen to the one we were actually working on that week.
Okay.
Yeah, so like
Yes.
we even read American Gods, and American Gods wasn't even that long.
No, no. I love how American Gods has just a novella hidden in the center of it. Like it's a novel, and it's like, okay, now we're gonna go to this town, but then like, but
I actually, my heart is completely broken with the whole Neil Gaiman thing.
yeah, me too,
So,
me too.
yeah, he was one of my gateway authors. His book Good Omens was the very first non young adult fiction that I read as
Okay.
a teenager, and like I remember there are parts where it's kind of slow and it drug on, but I powered through because I was so interested in finding out what was going to happen next. And I'm trying so hard to separate the artist from the art.
Yeah,
But because this is his creativity, his brain on display, I
It's
just kind of
hard.
have to pretend. Yeah, I have to pretend that Terry Pratchett wrote the whole thing. Or
I feel like Terry Pratchett did have a heavy hand in it. I mean, I
yeah,
think it's 70% Pratchett. I don't know. I'm the same way with Neverwhere. I don't know if you ever read his novelization of, because it was I know it was a TV show first, but he basically he wrote a novel based on it because he was like, I had more that I wanted to write, and the copy I have is in the margins are like doodles and sketches, and it's just such a beautiful story. It's such a pretty, and it's such a nice message. And I'm the same way, where like every day I'm like, damn, I don't know if I can separate the art from the artist, because I feel like the people that were telling me to do that were the artists that wanted me to buy their stuff. That's
yeah.
just I don't know. That's
I was actually a fan of his ex-wife Amanda Palmer as well, and
Mhm.
she did an interview with Russell Brand, and then all that shit came out with him getting accused of his stuff, and she was like, she released an official statement on it, and she was like, we should always, always, always believe the victims. And then someone came out and was like, yeah, Amanda was a groomer. And she was like, but not these victims. Amanda, no. You can't.
Oh no.
Step right in that one.
Yeah, yeah. Like, oh God, no, don't do this. Like, it's sad because all these people who have built up these reputations as these freedom fighters, creativity, all that kind of stuff, they're all falling by the wayside. They all got their power and then abused the fuck out of it. Why?
Honestly, I think it's because TikTok is blowing up book talk, and they're showcasing all of these really shitty authors that use AI to write their stuff. There's no emotion in it. Like, I mean, Colleen Hoover, this is a threat. I'm kidding, it's not. Oh my god.
I'm sorry, Colleen.
Do the Google!
She's just not a good writer. And it's not because of the content she writes, it's like the actual writing is just bad. And
Yeah.
it's so frustrating that people like that and stories like that get so much recognition, but then you have Ayn Rand and Neil Gaiman and, I mean, just creative geniuses who are forgotten.
Yeah.
It's upsetting.
Yeah. And it's so sad. It's, what is that old saying? You either die the hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Yeah. It's. I mean, yeah. We talked about. I mean, we've referenced Gaiman, and then Rowling, and it's. Well, so Sarah, do you have any problematic faves?
Yeah.
I just gotta, because we all unfortunately learn at some point that somebody that we really idolize is like, oh shit, that sucks.
Hey, even Gandhi wasn't that great. Like,
Yeah.
his wife got sick, and he was like, no, we don't take medicine. And then she died, and then he got the same disease, and he's like, I guess we could try the medicine. It couldn't hurt anything.
I don't think that I have like any like problematic favorite authors. I just have authors that people like. I don't know if you've read the Powerless trilogy.
Heard of it.
It's by Lauren Roberts,
Okay.
and she's amazing. But her writing kind of gets under people's skin because it's very long-winded and detailed. And I have reeled back on that, but I am also long-winded and detailed. And I absolutely love it, which goes to show you that people just like different things.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have any that's not problematic, but
No, but that's a different take on it, because you've got the authors that are, you just want to emulate, and you just wish you could write exactly the way they do. But then you have authors who you identify they're really good at one thing, but then you can also identify deficiencies for yourself, at least. Because you've got some that are too, I guess, Dickensian with their, we're going to have an adjective and an adverb every third sentence or every third word. But then you've got people that think they're Ernest Hemingway, and then they just don't actually tell you anything about what's going on. I think I fall in the I would rather you describe too much category. I do like Hemingway. I do like people that are brief, but that's the exception. I want detail. I want rich context.
I can understand that, but I also, I used to read Gus books.
Okay.
And, there is a specific... Zane Grey. Zane Grey is one of the fellows who over-explains. There's two cowboys and a rifle down in the valley, and there's a row of Apache over here, and the row of Crow over there, and they're all gone. And Zane's off over here. We don't talk about the other that. He got, down by the line, black beard, and he's looking on top. I don't give a shit about that rabbit. It's a balancing act, Zane. Get with it. Come on.
Yeah, it's for sure a balance, which I've learned through workshops the hard way with people being mean and.
I'm very much in the camp of brief. I'm not gonna sit there and explain a bookshelf. I may mention one or two things on it, but I've been told in workshops, why didn't you describe some of the other books? Do you really give a shit that they have 3 Dungeons and Dragons and a Pearl Album book on the top shelf? What does that add to the story? That takes you out of what's happening. So I'm very much... I trust my readers too much, is my problem.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
What do you mean you never seen a guy wearing a hat? Come on, man. It's just a hat. Come on. Imagine a guy with a hat.
And it is sometimes interesting, because sometimes it's not... You don't even want to necessarily describe more, but sometimes you realize it is a pacing thing instead of just a descriptive thing, because sometimes you need more time between when something is first mentioned and when the big payoff happens. It just doesn't work if it happens too quickly. So you always like, oh shit, how do I kind of step this out a little bit more so that it's not right on the tail?
Yeah. I can get behind big elaborate explanations the first time something's mentioned. The thing I'm working on now, I'm rewriting. I have the first 4 chapters of a fantasy novel written, and I'm working on the family's breakfast the morning after the new prince and princess are born. And the first time they're in this room, I'm describing the little cherubs on the walls and the gold leaf and the blue paper. The next time you come in this room, if you don't remember it, I don't give a shit.
No, that's perfectly fair. You only need to mention it once, unless it's like a Chekhov situation where it's okay, something's happening with this now. But you're right. I think you hit the nail on the head. You describe it well. You describe it once. But you don't have to, every time they walk into the room, mention how ornate the door handle is. It's just, at a certain point, it gets a little too much.
Yeah. A little redundant, yeah. Have y'all, speaking of book talk, Sarah, have you been seeing the girl that describes, that reads descriptions?
Yes. I love her.
I had a her moment the other day because I was reading. I started reading the book Me Before You.
Okay.
Because I'd always wanted to read it, and my the school secretary from the beginning of the school year gave me a bag of books, and it was in there. I started reading it, and the prologue is pretty much just the beginning of the movie. Watch the movie before I finish the book. Don't but, I very much had that moment where he kisses the girl on the forehead, and then he smells the back of her hair, and then she wraps her arms around him. Are they fucking playing Twister? What is happening? Like, I love you, right hand green. Oh. Like, do you have to go to work? Left hand blue. Come on, guys. Pick a position. Just
like you really needed to hire an intimacy coordinator if the director was such a virgin.
What's wrong with missionary in books? I don't.
Why do they have to be upside down? Like,
yeah, Spider-Man.
Hey, yeah. See, that's something that I've never been into myself, but like, from my understanding, like, fantasy erotica has definitely grown in its popularity. Like, not necessarily full on smut, but like 50 Shades but fantasy themed has grown in popularity over the last few years. And to me, that's a really interesting concept.
I blame J.R.R. Martin. If he wanted to screw his twin sister, why didn't he just say that from John? like, come on, man. I got better things to do. Tell me what happens next.
In my Christian medieval fantasy.
When did yours take place? 45 years before Jesus was even born. What are they? They're Catholic. Okay, time to go. Let's get out.
No, they knew. Yeah. The Catholics have always been.
Like, what year is it? It's 26 BC. Before what? I don't know, man. Counting down. I have no idea.
It's coming, though.
It's gonna be huge. Well, we have actually made it to the 57.5-minute mark.
Wow.
So this podcast will be available through Spotify, YouTube, some other places that I'm going to check out. But I did want to actually end these things with a writing prompt for our listeners from a book called 400 Writing Prompts. I thought that would actually be kind of fun, and I will also post this into a Discord channel, and people can actually answer this in the Discord channel, and maybe next week we could read a couple. I don't know.
yeah.
Sure, that'd be interesting.
All right. So our first one, I really like this first one, actually the first one in the book. While at the beach, you decide to write a message in a bottle. What would it say? Who would you like to find it? So...
Okay.
We can either answer that now or wait and answer it for ourselves next week if you want to. I don't know.
I'd say we wait until next week. We see kind of what we can simmer and figure out. And yeah, I'm definitely going to lean Cthulhu, but no, I'm just kidding. That'd be interesting though. I'd say we do a little bit of investigating and then come back.
Sounds good to me. So, the way we're doing this, I could probably get away with putting this up tomorrow. Spend the rest of the evening editing and just get it out. Sounds good, guys?
Yeah.
Fine with me.
All right. Well, this concludes the first episode of the workshop. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please leave them in the comments or join us on Discord, which will be linked down in the thing. Was that too, what are they, Brotherhood 2.0? But down in the doobly-doo.
I was going to say millennial cringe. That's what my sister would have called it.
Yeah, I was going to use like a Gen Z slang term, but honestly, it might be a slur, so I don't know.
Leave it down in the skibbity what you would write. Alright, I think we've covered all the generations that matter. Gen X, just be mad about it. See y'all later.
It's not the first time they've been forgotten.
Oh, yeah. Did you mean the silent generation? Because they haven't said anything in years. They're all dead now, so that's kind of...
I was going to say, well, no, I think, yeah, they're all gone.
only slightly dead as a fart. It's fine. All right, guys. I'm going to stop recording.